If you have some spare change, if you have a little bit of money that you can that you can give toward Parkview Christian School. Please do that. Okay? And the last thing, this was not the bulletin, so this one we need to make sure we hear. This will be an adult respite care training Tuesday, August the 20th at First Methodist from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. If you have any questions about that, you can talk to Jennifer Benefit about that. And so let's do this morning. Let's pray together, and then we'll sing some more. God, we love you. Lord, we thank you that you've been here before us this morning. God, we know that you were in this room long before the doors were open. God, you knew that we would be here singing praises to your name, God, being God, prepared to hear your word brought before us. So God, be with us. God, we want to see you. God, we want you to move in our midst. God, would you do that for us? God, would it be evident, God, just like when Moses came down from the mountain, God, your word says that it was evident that he had been with you. Just like the disciples, God, when they went into trial before the Sanhedrin, God, they said it was evident that they had been with you. God, this morning when we leave this place, would it be said of us at Parkview Baptist Church that it was evident that we've been with Jesus? So God, be with Luis as he continues to lead us. Be with Mike as he brings your word in a few moments. God, change us. We love you, Jesus.
Stand up again. Hey, are you alive this morning? Do you have any breath left? We'll go for let everything that has breath. We're going to sing that out. Shout it out.
Everything that Let's hear the words of the year that we love life as Jen sent to this morning. As we reach out in the world, teach your name, teach the voice of your truth and spirit. Thank you for this, Lord. Lift up those that are sick, Lord. You know they are. You know the hand that you place on them. Just take care of the rest. Christ, we pray.
Only imagine it will be alive when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your days is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart be? Oh, will I dance for you, Jesus? For in all of you we stand. Will I stand in your presence? Up to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. And when that day comes, and I find myself standing in the sun, I can only imagine. When all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart be? Oh, will I dance for you, Jesus? For in all you we stand. Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? For in all you we stand. Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine.
Wow, Mr. Jake.
Jake? Man, that was awesome. That was great. Isn't it great to see young people love the Lord, serve the Lord? God gives them not only a talent, but a passion to do what they do. And I praise the Lord for that. I watch somebody, listen to somebody, and I like to check there. Gives me great hope. Fills me with great emotion. Down there, did you? I'm thankful for that. Hey, I know I heard Jamie earlier welcome our guests. If you're a guest here today, let me say welcome as well. Okay? And oftentimes as I prepare to speak on Sunday mornings, often it is a message that's designed for the church. Okay? And if you're not a member of this church, that does not mean the message is not for you, but it has in mind this particular body of Christ, this body of believers called Parkview Baptist Church. And so one of the things I would invite you to do if you're a guest and you're not a member is to, as you listen to this message, realize that this is a prayer that I have for this church. And it may be that as you listen to that, you might say, hey, I want to be a part of a church like that. So I invite you as a guest to consider being an integral part of Parkview Baptist and say, hey, if that's what Mike is getting from the Lord, what he wants from the church, and the church wants to do this, then I will be a part of that. And so I don't know what you come to church with as far as expectations. I don't know if you've ever thought of that. Because depending on what your expectations are, you can be disappointed. All right? Again, it just depends on that. Like yesterday, Stephen Parker had a lot higher expectations of me, and I let him down. Okay? I disappointed him. All right? And you can ask him about that later. I don't want to cry myself in front of God and all that sort of thing. But it just depends on what your expectations are. And so I don't know if you even come to church with any expectations. I don't know if it's just a normal part of a routine for you, and you expect to do, okay, we're going to sing a handful of songs, okay? We're going to pray a little bit. We're going to hear about things going on around the church and what we need to be doing, what we need to be praying for and being involved with. And then that guy's going to get up and speak for a minute, and they might, or for a few minutes, longer than he should. And I don't know what your expectations are, okay? But here's one of the things I would hope for you, all right? And that is that you would come to church with an expectation. Literally now, and it's not just because I'm a preacher to say this. I would hope that you would come with an expectation to meet God, okay? And I heard it in James' prayer earlier. He said, Lord, change us. That you would come with an expectation to leave differently than when you came. Okay? Leave with not only a better sense of who God is and His presence in your life, but a challenge, if you will, to be different, to live different, to talk differently, to think differently, and to be in a community differently than you've ever been before. Because when I preach a message about what I'm about to preach about, and I share it with you here in just a second, you're going to think, okay, another one of those messages. All right? It's kind of like when the pastor gets up and says, well, I'm going to preach on tithing today. A lot of folks might say, wow, here we go again. He's wanting to talk about giving or about money. I'm not sure I've really talked about giving or money with you in the time I've been with you. But sometimes you might think that. Or when you hear the pastor speak about, well, we need to be evangelistic and we need to share the gospel, you think, well, another one of those kind of sermons where we're told to share the good news with everybody we come in contact with. Or one like I have for you today. All right? And that is, I'm going to talk to you for a moment or for a few moments on the subject of prayer. We're on day 18. This is the 18th of August. Of praying as a church for 31 days for the future and the direction of our church. And as I thought about that this week in my going and coming wherever I was, I thought to myself, I wonder if those who are praying are kind of just settling in now. Okay? If you're like me, all right, you can kind of lose your way. Anybody else ever get distracted by a squirrel? Or like a squirrel? I understand that, okay? Well, my wife will shake her head sometimes because my subject matters go so quick in different directions, okay? Sometimes we get scattered. Sometimes we get settled. Possibly sometimes we get bored, okay? Because we wonder what's going on. What is this I'm going through these days of prayer, and I'm not really doing any different. I'm not seeing anything different, or what have you. And I want to just come in kind of in the middle of that time frame and speak to you about this subject so that we can realize once again, in a fresh, new way, that without prayer, we're sunk. Okay? Without prayer, we have no hope in accomplishing whatever it is that God would want us to accomplish. So I hope that today you come with one of those expectations, or some expectation in your heart, to be more than just hearing a great young man named Jake sing a powerful song, or might give you a good message. I hope that your expectation, as you package all that up, is that God, you would change me today. That you would make me different. That I would be, when I leave here today, the impact does not fizzle when I hit the parking lot of my car, but that I am able to take from here what I need to be a different person. I will start off with a quote by John Wesley, the great founder of the Methodist movement, the largest movement in America. He said this: "The purpose of your prayer, of your praying, is not to inform God, as though He didn't already know what you wanted. No, it is to inform yourself, to fix your wants more clearly in your heart, and to remind yourself of your continual dependence on God, who is always more willing to give than you are to ask. Then you'll be more willing to receive the good things that He has prepared for you." Now, do you believe today that God has good things that He has prepared for you? I do. I believe the Scripture is clear. One of my goals today is simply this: that we today would know, not by a knowledge perspective or by just information's sake, but that we would know by experience more fully of how I am to pray, what I am to pray, why I should be praying. I want to begin with a story. We're going to circle back to the story at the end. There was a king who noticed a particular man in his kingdom who was always doing things for people. This man that the king took notice of could not help himself, and all he could do was continue to do good for everybody he came in contact with. And the result of this man doing good to everyone he came in contact with was that everybody in this kingdom loved this man. So the king sent for him, as he was impressed with the way he lived his life, and he decided that he wanted to reward this man for all the good that he did. And so the king looked at this man as he brought him into his palace. He says, "I want you to take a full day and walk around any amount of land, and I will give it to you." And so the man, looking at the king, immediately took his staff and he drew a circle around himself. The king was a little puzzled, and he was a little confused. And so he asked the man that was in front of him as he drew that circle around himself, he said, "You mean the land inside your little circle is all that you want?" And the man looked at the king and said, "No, Your Highness, I want everything outside of the circle." Now, I want you to remember that, because we're going to come back to it in just a moment. As I think about prayer, as I thought about this week, God has gone to tremendous lengths. I mean, lengths beyond my ability to really comprehend and to understand, to make Himself available to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. God has gone to tremendous lengths to have us know that He loves us so dearly, that He desires to have such an intimate love relationship with us and to walk with us and to talk with us daily, without end, okay? He has gone to the incredible lengths when He sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sin. And Jesus hung on that cross, bleeding and dying, and that temple veil was torn in two, symbolic of the fact that now God was opening up His access to absolutely everybody who would come to Him. They no longer have to go through some earthly rituals and religious activities, nor earthly priests. That He took down that barrier and ripped it wide open for us so that we could come to the God of all creation through His one and only Son, Jesus Christ, as our only necessary high priest. He made that available to us through the death of His Son, Jesus Christ, who is now our only mediator. He's also given us the incredible promise. You can go back and look at this later, Romans 8:26. That anybody here ever wondered what did he pray? Anybody here ever been so troubled or just without understanding? It's like, God, I know I need to pray, but I don't even know what to pray. And there He told us it is the Spirit of God that He has given to us that will pray on our behalf, that will give utterances to God for us when we don't even know how to pray. God so deeply wants a communicating relationship with us, a two-way relationship, that He has done all of these things. We're going to end up in 1 Chronicles, but let me read to you out of the greatest sermon ever preached, really, in Scripture, and that's what Jesus preached in the Sermon on the Mount. He said, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds, and to him who knocks the door will be opened. And then Jesus says these words. He says, which of you, if his son asks for bread, would give him a stone? Or, if he asks for a fish, will you give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask Him? Now, of all the places I could go today to talk with you about prayer, I want to go back to 1 Chronicles, if you will, if you have a Bible with you. And I'm sure you've heard a message on this before. You may have read books in the past, but go to 1 Chronicles chapter 4, and we're going to consider this man named Jabez. All right? Anybody ever studied Jabez? Raise your hand. Read stuff on him. Well, I don't know if I can tell you anything new today, but hopefully God will quicken our hearts again to be men and women of prayer. Right here in the midst of one of the hardest sections of the Bible to read. If you are reading the Bible through, for example, and you come to this section where it's just nothing but endless genealogies, you probably lean your head back and forth going, oh no, God, I don't know if I can get through this. Okay? Let's just be honest. All right? It's one of probably the toughest portions of Scripture to read, as all you're doing is reading name after name after name after name that you cannot pronounce, that you don't know how it's supposed to sound. You just make it up as you read, right? And right in the midst of what is literally, what seems like an endless genealogy, over 600 names, there's a pause. There's a pause in here where we hear in verse 9, Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. His father had named him Jabez, saying, I gave birth to him in pain. How would you like to have that as your name? Knowing that your name means and reminds your mama of pain. All right? It had to have been more than just the pain of childbirth. Because I think every child is born with pain. And ladies, thank you for enduring that pain. I know nothing about it. Praise God. All right? But it had to be more than that for it to come up. That's just what I believe. And then in verse 10, Jabez cried out to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain." And God granted his request. I like that last phrase. God granted his request. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the time that you have given us today, that we could come in contact with not just your word, but with you personally. Lord, as we consider this subject of prayer, to kind of quote the song that Jake just sang, Lord, I can only imagine really what you would have in store for us here, before we ever see you face to face, before we ever cross the line of eternity. Lord, Jabez, it says to us, was honorable. Lord, I don't really know why he was so honorable, more so than his brothers. Maybe it's because he prayed simple yet bold, audacious prayers, believing you for great things. Lord, I'm not sure why his mom chose to name him a name that was synonymous with pain. Father, maybe it was other things surrounding him. Maybe it had to do with who he was in his past. Father, I believe that every one of us in this room can understand that, because we carry things in our past that have named us or labeled us in certain ways. But Father, when we look at this, we see a couple simple things, that he simply cried out to you. And Lord, I believe his heart was pure. I believe what he asked for was right. Father, I believe what he asked for was what you would have him ask for. Because it says that you granted his request. Father, I pray that you would use it to speak to us great and mighty things today, and to change us, as Jamie prayed earlier. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Why is this simple little prayer that's really one verse long so remarkable? Why is it so extraordinary? Why is it that the results ended with God granted his request? What was it about this prayer? What was it about the heart of Jabez? What was it that he did that day and that we can learn from today? Now here's what I'm not going to do. I am not going to promote for you to go and quote this prayer every single day of your life. All right? But I am going to ask you to consider these 4 parts of this prayer and how to incorporate this kind of praying into your life, because I'm going to give it to you in the form of questions, okay? And part 1 in this prayer is simply this. Jabez says to God, God, will you bless me? God, will you bless me? Now, how many of you, as you thought about this prayer, read about it for years, ever since back in 2000, Bruce Wilkinson came out with this little book called The Prayer of Jabez or whatever. How many of you thought, well, that's a selfish-sounding prayer? I don't know, I'm sure somebody has. I know they've talked about it, because anytime you write a book, anytime you go public with something like he did, you're going to get criticized. And he got criticized for that book, whether you liked it or not. But he says in the very first part of his prayer, God, will you bless me? God, will you put your favor upon me? God, would you do this? Would you give me your blessing? Now, one of the things you'll have to understand is that Jabez was not asking for his definition of blessing. He was leaving the definition of blessing up to God. He said, God, I want it to come from you. I want your blessing to be on me. I want your favor to be on me. And listen to me, as we just read out of Matthew chapter 7 in the Sermon on the Mount, I believe that God is in the blessing business. If you don't think that God's in the blessing business, I'll meet you at the church and tell you all the blessings I have in my life that I do not deserve, right? And then you might start to think about the blessings in your life, and you'll realize, you know what, God is in the blessing business. Even in the midst of difficult times, I can see how God blesses. But when I think about the blessing of God in this prayer, and what made this prayer so extraordinary when he said, God, will you bless me? I think of Abraham. We don't have time to go look at Abraham from Genesis 12 and on. It says, but notice some of the things that God said to him, if you remember that story. He says, I will make you into a great nation. I will give you a land. I will show you that land. I will give it to you. He tells Abraham, I will make your name great. And then he tells Abraham, and all the people of the earth will be blessed through you. As God gave his blessing to Abraham, his blessing rested on Abraham. It was so that the people of the earth, still to this day, you and me, will be blessed through him. And so when you pray, God, will you bless me? What you are praying, if you have the heart of Jabez, is you're praying, God, make me a blessing to other people. God, will you make me a blessing to those that are around me? Because guess what? If you haven't heard this yet, I hope I don't burst your bubble too bad today, but life is not about you. Like the universe does not evolve and rotate around you. This is not the movie where you are the starring character. Okay, you're just a part of the supporting cast. This is about God. And so when you pray, God, will you bless me? If you're praying the heart of Jabez, you are praying, God, will you use me to be a blessing to others? I think one of the dangers and one of the fears that people have had about praying, God, will you bless me, is that this is about health, wealth, and prosperity. Okay? Now, we don't need to get off on that soapbox. All right? I don't, because then I can get a little rude, and I'm going to try not to be rude today. All right? Because I'm a nice guy. But there cannot be a worse theology out there than health, wealth, and prosperity. There cannot be a worse one out there. And it has engulfed our country. It has engulfed our people of our land. And listen to me, let me just make it real simple for you. If it is a gospel that's preached here, and it cannot go be preached in the bush of Africa, it's not the gospel. Because the gospel here is the gospel there, and the gospel there is the gospel here. And if it doesn't match up over there, I've been in the bush of Africa, Lori and I both have, okay? And health, wealth, and prosperity will not fly over there. Okay? So this is not what this is about. This is about, God, will you bless me in order that I would be a blessing to others. Go all the way back to the book of 1 John, if you will. If you got quick fingers, all right? 1 John chapter 5. I love the word confidence because this is what God says we have in Him. But 1 John chapter 5, beginning in verse 14, it says this. This is the confidence we have in approaching God. Are you ready for this? This is the confidence that we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have what we have asked of Him. So back to Jabez, if we are praying, God, will you bless me, knowing that He is going to put His blessing upon us for the sole purpose of being a blessing to others, God is going to grant that. No wonder it says that God granted His request. This is your purpose. It is your purpose in life. There are so many people who go, well, I just don't know why I'm here on this earth. I don't know what the meaning of life is all about. I don't know what my purpose is. Let me help you. Let me give you a quick one. If you said that and you're still wondering that today, your purpose in life is to be a God-sent blessing to other people. That's your purpose. Your purpose in life is to be a God-sent blessing to other people. God, will you bless me? And God granted His request. When we ask for God to bless us, if our heart is in line with the heart of God, just like Abraham, just like Jabez, or so many other examples in Scripture, if we're saying, God, will you bless me? And my heart is to take the blessing that God gives to me and to use that as a blessing to others, God will grant that kind of request. Because He knows you're going to be trustworthy. He knows you're going to take that blessing and go care for other people. He knows you're going to go and love other people. He knows you're going to go serve other people. Hello, next Saturday behind Burger King. In any way you can. In any way we can. He knows we're going to do that because we're going to be faithful with that blessing so that we can go and share the good news in so many ways, including the gospel itself, with other people. God, will you bless me? God granted his request. The second thing that Jabez asked for, and that is this: God, will you give me more? God, will you give me more? Now, it still sounds a little selfish. Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. I'm going to go back and give you another quick quote of John Wesley. Again, the famous founder of the largest movement in America known as the Methodist Church. He was known as one who brought the church outside the church walls. And this is what he said, a very simple statement. It got him in so much trouble. People hated him, they ridiculed him, they discouraged him, they insulted him, they spat upon him, okay, for thinking this way. This is what he said. He said, the world is my parish. That's what he said. The world is my parish. Now, I like the word parish, but it's not a word we use in Baptist circles, is it? Okay? We don't use that word in the Baptist sense. But here's a pretty good, succinct definition of the word parish. Are you ready? The word parish simply means a local church with its field of activity. So you say, well, I like it. I mean, it fits. Whether you're Methodist or Baptist or what, okay? A parish is the local church with its field of activity. And John Wesley said, I want more than that. The world is my parish. I don't want to define my parish as being just right here, is what John Wesley said. I've got to go preach to the nations. I've got to go take the gospel to every man, woman, boy, and girl that I can find that will give me ear. And it's not going to be defined by such a little area that's just around me. John Wesley says, I'm going to go everywhere. And he gave birth again to one of the greatest movements the church has ever seen. But so many times, I'm afraid while we do not pray this kind of prayer, that is, Lord, give me more or enlarge my territory, is because of these self-imposed limitations that we put on ourselves. We're horrible at this, okay? I don't mean to look at you and say you're horrible, but collectively we are. And by that I mean this. We say things so many times like, well, we just don't have enough money to do that. Well, I know a God who has cattle on 1,000 hills, okay? And he's been known to sell a few here and there to take care of monetary needs. It's happened before, it's going to happen again. We've said before, God, we don't have enough people to do this. Well, maybe all it needs one. I don't know. God, we don't have enough time to do this. And God's probably scratching his head going, I thought I gave everybody 24 hours a day. You probably got enough time to do what I've asked you to do. And then the famous limitations that we put on ourselves and we put on others. That'll never work. We tried that before, and it didn't work back then. Maybe it was a timing issue. Maybe it was a timing issue that it wasn't supposed to work then, but today is a very different day. That'll never work. We've never done it that way. We can't do these things. And here is Jabez saying, God, will you give me more? Because included in that question, God, give me more. He understands that when God gives us more, you got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to go. You got to be willing to strive. You got to be willing to shoot for it. You got to be willing to set some goals. You got to be willing to embrace a responsibility in you to not sit back and not relax, but to get up and go and do. This is what this prayer is. God, if you will give me more, I'm going to give my life's blood to this. He's not just saying, God, pump it in here, would you? God, just pour it all over me. This is an attitude that says, God, if you give me more, I know that what comes with that is my willingness to work. My willingness to go. This is not about just showing up for church, listening to songs, listening to a sermon, writing a check, and then going to dinner afterwards, and the rest of my week just kind of living in oblivion. It is a willingness to go out, to reclaim lost territory, to reclaim territory that has belonged to Satan and expand our borders and fight through the struggles and fight through all the things that the enemy and our own sinful selfishness would bring. Jabez is filled with this passionate longing, and I just don't believe it's existence in America anymore. And listen, the church has got to embrace that responsibility. It's not present the way it should be in houses of worship like this across our land. We've grown so complacent. We've just grown with such ease into this health and wealth, teaching that as long as I'm healthy, as long as I have food in the refrigerator, as long as both my cars are working fine and all that, then life's good and God's good. I don't know where we came up with that. It's not in the Scripture. It's not in the Bible. When Jabez said, Lord, I want more, I want you to enlarge my territory, he said, God, I am ready to be used up by you. I'm ready to be used up by you. God, will you bless me? God granted his request. God, will you give me more? God granted his request. He knew that he would use his blessing to bless others. He knew that as he gave him more, he would be obedient and faithful to do all that was required to do that. The third question that Jabez asked God is this: will you go with me? I like that. Will you put your hand upon me? God, I need you. Because, Lord, this is going to be hard. In fact, God, it's going to be more than hard. Without your hand upon me, it's going to be impossible. Because blessing other people sometimes, are we honestly here today, sometimes it's hard. And when God gives us more territory, and He says it's going to increase your responsibility, that's going to be hard. God, will you put your hand upon me? God, will you guide me with your hand? Will you show me? Will you direct me? God, will you lead me? Will you go before me? God, your presence with me. God, your presence with me is required. If I am to be successful, God, your presence has to be there. It has to lead the way. Your hand must guide, because my success, Lord, is only your success being shown through me. That's all it is. But God, without your hand, without your active involvement, Lord, I am going to gain nothing. I'm not going to be able to do any of these things. Think about it. If we're asking God to expand our territory and give us a larger reach of influence and a larger parish, if you will, back to John Wesley, then that means we're going to have to go into the darkness and invade what belongs to the enemy. That means without the hand of God, you're done. We're sunk. But God granted His request. God, will you bless me? Yes. God, will you enlarge my territory? Will you give me more? Yes. Okay, God, I'm scared now. I need your hand. Will you give me your hand? Yes. I will guide you. I will walk with you. I will not only walk with you, I will go before you. And I will show you the way. The last thing that Jabez prays, as he says, God, will you bless me? Will you give me more? Will you go? Will your hand go with me? Lord, will you protect me? It says again, Lord, keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain. He circles back to who he was. It's like he's come full circle. Okay, God, will you bless me? Because I know that your blessing means to bless others, because it's not about me. God, will you enlarge my territory? Will you give me more? I'll be faithful with all the responsibility you give me, and the more you give me, the more I'll work, the harder I'll go, God, because I know it's all about you and your fame and your name being spread. Yes. I need your hand, God. I need your hand to be on me. Yes. God, will you protect me? I wish we knew a little bit more about Jabez's history. We don't. We don't have any idea really about what the word pain means. So let me just throw a suggestion at you then. As he says, God, would you guard me and keep me from messing this up? I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my Fortenberry. I can mess things up. Anybody with me? If I am not saying, okay, God, I desperately need you, my mouth can get ahead of my brain. Okay? It can happen. If you don't believe me, ask Lori. She'll probably be kind because she loves me. But it can happen, okay? I don't know what Jabez was thinking about, but I believe he circled back and said, God, I want you to keep me from harm. Keep me from pain. I believe that as Jabez prayed this, he said, God, my desire is to honor you. My desire, Lord, is to show the world you and not me. Because if I show the world me, that's a very unimpressive thing. Okay? It's very unimpressive if the world sees me. Are you with me? I'm not trying to poor mouth myself. I'm just saying, me or God, one's very, very unimpressive, and the other one brings awe and worship. I believe this is what Jabez was doing. He says, God, give me the ability to honor you because I can mess this up. Keep me close to you, Lord. And God granted his request. God granted his request. Now, why this prayer today? You can be thankful that what I'm going to share with you tonight, I was going to put in this morning's message, but you can thank me later for that. Because I'm not done. It'll come tonight when I'm done. Because we're going to talk about this whole thing of purpose and the vision of the church that we began a few Sunday nights ago. But why this prayer today? Here's one. I believe limited vision, okay? And I'm being kind there. Because really the answer there is oftentimes no vision in the church. But limited vision is a church killer today. That's why the church is in the shape it's in America. We're not in the shape we're in today because evil is stronger. We are not in the shape we're in today because Satan has an upper hand on God in any way, shape, form, or fashion. We're in the shape we're in today because of limited to no vision. Whether it's a result of looking at our circumstances and saying, oh, poor, pitiful us, look at our circumstances. Or whether it's looking at our resources or the lack thereof and saying, okay, God, we're just not resourced to ask you for a larger territory, to ask you for a larger influence. I think that's a part of it. But I think it goes deeper than that. I think our limited to no vision is founded in unbelief. It's just an unbelief problem that we have. We can't do that. I can't do that. Or how would you ask me to do that? You know me, I'm not that kind of person. It's an unbelief problem that we have. Or possibly, we'll talk about this again tonight, maybe we just don't have a desire for it. Maybe it's because when we hear a message like that, we realize, okay, Jabez asked for more territory. That means a lot more work. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for a nice cushion pew. Not a whole lot more work. I don't know. But I believe the limited vision today is killing the church. And that's why I went back to Jabez this week. You remember the story of the king? He asked his man to come in that he was so impressed with. He said, I want to reward you. I want you to walk across any land that you want, and it's yours. And the man took his staff, and he drew a circle around himself, puzzled the king, until which he finally told the king, he said, no, I don't want this land. I want everything that's outside this circle. Here's what I ask you to do. Okay? Would you go ahead and stand, because I'm really at the end. Would you stand with me, because we're going to get ready to sing. And Luis can go ahead and go to the piano or whatever he was planning on. That I know he's got something for us. But here's what I want to ask you to pray. Okay? Here's what I want to ask you to do. I want to ask you if you're bold enough, courageous enough, desiring enough, if you believe God enough that He really wants to do things today that He's always wanted to do throughout all of history, and to make His name known, to expand the kingdom of God, I want you to envision this in your mind right now. Would you be willing to draw a circle around this church building? Not where you are right now, Would you be willing to draw a circle around this church facility and say, God, I want every bit of territory outside this circle. God, I want every bit of Barber County. I want every bit of Eufaula, Alabama. Forget Eufaula, I want to go across the river to Georgetown, God. I want the circle, I want everything outside of this circle to be yours, God. Therefore, God, will you bless me? Will you bless me, God? Knowing that your blessings, as they follow me, are intended for other people. God, will you enlarge my territory so that I can see beyond? Lord, give me a vision that is beyond, I don't even know the address here. Will you give me a vision beyond this property? Lord, I want everything outside of this circle. Lord, if you're going to do that, I need your hand. I need your guidance. And Lord, I need your protection because I don't want to mess it up. Would you be willing to pray that today? Now listen to me. As I ask you that question, here's a reality that I understand. And I only say this for sobering purposes, okay? Not for any other reason. You may not be willing to pray that. I get it. I understand. You might be sitting here still thinking, going, okay, I'm not sure about that, Mike. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Okay? If you say, Mike, I'm just not sure that I'm up for that kind of task. If you're not, would you present that to the Lord? And say, God, speak to me. Speak to my heart. Help me. The Bible talks about the confidence I have in coming to you in 1 John 5:14. Lord, I may just lack the confidence, not in what I can do and who I am, but Lord, I may just be lacking the confidence in you. Okay? To do what you say you will do. That you'll show up and do what you promised to do. But let me ask you, church, are you really willing to draw that circle and say, okay, God, I don't need what's inside here anymore. And don't get me wrong about what I just said, okay? There's nothing there. But Lord, I want everything outside here. Let me challenge you. Don't come and pray with me about that today if it's not real. Okay? And that's just fair enough. And I don't need to be doing it either. Okay? If I'm not willing to do that. Don't fill the altar up here if you're not really willing to pray that. Okay? You understand the reason why I put that challenge out there is this is big. It can be scary. It's bold. It's audacious, just like Jabez was. Okay? But I'm going to ask you to pray it. I'm going to ask you to consider it. I'm going to ask you to pray for everything outside of this place. Father, I'm convinced, as is every one of my brothers and sisters in this room, Lord, we know this in our mind. We know this from a knowledge standpoint. And that is, Lord, you want us to pray that kind of prayer. Lord, you want us to ask you for things like this because it's about your name, it's about your fame, it's about your kingdom, it is about a people out there that you love so dearly that you want to come into your family to know salvation and to know forgiveness of sin, to experience your grace and mercies and kindness and goodness, Lord. It's about those things. That's why you want us to pray these things. Because you'll get it. You'll do it if we are willing to be used and to work and to serve. Father, we have to have you with us. So Lord, give us time to now so that we as a church can pray individually, collectively, whatever that means, Lord, to let you have your way in our life. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's sing.
A copy of hymn 569, make me a blessing. 569. Out in the highways and byways of life, many are weary and sad. Carry the sunshine where darkness is bright, making the sorrowing glad.
As your church to pray the same way. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.